Last episode had a lot of good reviews. I'm happy about that. A lot of positive stuff. You guys really like how it turned out, and I really like how it turned out too. It was a little questionable at first, I was kind of questioning it too, it kind of looked a little funny, a little tacky, but I really like how it turned out, and it really flows with the rest of the boat. This episode, we need to focus on wiring. We have a few things left to finish on this boat. One thing is a motor. Still looking for a motor. If you have any leads on that, please let me know. And we also have to wire up the whole boat. Whenever I took off all the flooring and everything, I took off all the wiring with it because it's a lot easier just to rewire a boat if you're redoing the whole thing anyway. If you're using factory wiring, it's so hard to figure out where everything goes, and it just takes a long time to trace it back, and spending $100 on a new wiring harness is just so much easier. I have new gauges and switches all from pontoonstuff.com along with their wiring harness kit. It's all plug and play. It should make it very easy to install and run all the wires to it. Shouldn't be very hard at all. Along with running all the wiring for the lights, the gauges, the upper lights, and all that kind of stuff, I'm going to also put LED lights around the whole front, color changing lights, along with up here I want to put color changing lights underneath the bar, and then up here I want to put white LED lights shining down, so if we're out at night we can light up the back area and be able to see stuff. And also along with that, I have a whole new sound system to install with the boat, new speakers, new radio and everything. The radio is a very nice radio. Head unit is right here, and it also has its own separate head unit that you can install in another part of the boat. I'm going to install it up front, that way we can control the sound from up there. I don't have to walk all the way back here to lower the volume or anything. It also comes with different sections, so we can control just the section up there, turn the volume down up there if people are talking, and turn it up back here if people are partying. It's like 4 different sections. I'm still learning a little bit about this radio. I just know it's going to be very cool and good for a big boat. I have speakers to install up here, and also have 4 wakeboard speakers that I'm going to install on this upper deck. Not really sure where I'm going to install them yet. Maybe up here, maybe off to the side. We'll figure that out later. But speakers around here, amplifier, radio, all that works. Also need to finish bolting down these seats. I was waiting for the screws to come in. We can do that really quick. That's not going to be very hard. Yeah, we got a lot of wiring to do. Wiring isn't super interesting, so I'm going to try to make it fun and entertaining for you guys. We'll see how that works out. Yeah, stay tuned. We're going to be running wires. All video. Alright, let's get to it. we got pretty much everything we need to mount up to start running wiring. We got all these hanging speakers mounted. They look really good. A couple facing in the back, so if we're up top, we can listen to music. Up here facing the front, speakers down at the bottom, all look really good. Got all this stuff mounted up. This is all really easy to do. It comes with a cutout, so you know how much you need to cut out for each one. This is all Pontoon stuff, switches and gauges and all that kind of stuff. Radio mounted up, sighted on this spot, and I'm going to install some buttons over here for all the LED lights. I'll talk about that in a second. Right here is going to be the throttle for the motor, and then obviously steering wheel. Now to wire all this up, this is all you need for the main stuff, for like the navigation lights, accessories, the speedometer stuff. All this is right into this. And what makes it really easy, if you buy all the Pontoon stuff wiring, it all just plugs and plays. So you see this little plug, you unplug that extra little bit off of it. This is just in case you are trying to wire up a boat that already has gauges and stuff. And then you go to this one down here that plugs into this switch, and pretty much it. And then you start running your wires. It makes it very easy to just plug it in and run wires. It's super easy. Now the more complicated part is to run speaker wires and all that kind of stuff, especially if you're running it up on this, because I'm going to have to drill holes, run it down through to make it clean. I have to connect these two somehow up there. I have to connect those two also, but that's going to be a lot easier than trying to run this down and all the way over and back up. Yeah, just a little bit more complicated stuff to do. Same thing with the speakers up here. I gotta run speaker wires to all those. And along with all that, I gotta run all these LED lights. Don't have to, but I want to. These are all LED pods that change colors. So you can change it to blue, green, yellow, pink, pretty much every color. It comes with a remote, but I'm actually not gonna use this remote, and I will talk about that in a second. But I have plenty of extra things running everywhere. So I'm probably gonna put 4 or 6 pods up in the front shining down so it lights it up. Same thing back here underneath the bar shining down, maybe a couple over here. I have plenty of pods, so I'll just figure it out when we go. Same thing up here, I'm gonna add 4 or 6 pods that just shine white down because I don't really wanna have different colors up top. So now what I'm talking about with the remote is there's going to be plenty of remotes, because I'm going to have the remote for the speaker lights, for every single pod. Basically, I have a couple sets of pods, so it just makes it really complicated to have multiple remotes, and if you lose one, then you have to deal with that. Kind of complicated. So to uncomplicate it by making it more work, I'm going to add just buttons that light up right here. So I have a red, blue, green, and a white button. Press a red button, light up red, press a blue button and light up blue, so on and so forth. And you can actually press in 2 colors at the same time and it'll change it to a different color. It makes it kind of more complicated, but not really as much. So I'm taking away the dancing features and all that kind of stuff, but just making it a lot easier to use, because I don't really care about making the lights dance and stuff on the water. I just want to have different colors on the boat. But if you're just running these lights and you just want to have one remote and don't have multiple sets of them, that makes it a little bit easier. You can try just plug and play. So that's the plan next, run this wiring and maybe start running a lot of the speaker wires and try to figure all that stuff out. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. It's not gonna be boring at all. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, wiring takes a long time, especially if you're doing something complicated like this, where you're running wires all through your posts and up top and doing a lot of custom work and a lot of extra add-ons, so like the drink maker and all that kind of stuff. It takes a lot more work. But if you're just gonna wire up Pontoon stuff gauges with their switches and just run your necessary things you need for your boat, that's only gonna take a couple hours. It's all self-explanatory, it's all labeled, and all that stuff just hooks directly up. What made this more time consuming for me is because I had a lot of custom stuff to do. Run wires to the drink maker. All these cup holders light up along with the LED pods underneath I installed. Same thing up here, all these cup holders have LEDs in them along with pods underneath and LED pods underneath all the seats. You see all the wiring underneath there? All that's hooked up. Now it doesn't sound too complicated, just run some wires, connect them all, but they're very small wires and also different color coordinated, so I had to figure out which LEDs light up for which color on each LED pod and solder them all together, run all the wires, connect everything up to the buttons. So it was a lot of work. It's probably around 7 hours of just soldering and hooking up wires and stuff, but it all works, and I think it's way better than having a remote to control all of those LEDs. Unfortunately, I couldn't hook up the LEDs to the speakers themselves because these speakers have LED lights in them. Problem is it's all internally wired, so I only had to run a power and a negative to it, so I can't dig into that and hook them all up to the same ones. So these unfortunately have to have a remote to them, but no big deal. All the rest of the LEDs are just to these switches. There's a red option, a blue option, and a green option, and if you press two of them in the same time, so if you press the red and the green, or the red and the blue, it will change to a different color. Same thing with red and green, or press some blue and green, and if you press all of them in at the same time, it will change to like an off-white color. It's almost like a purple color really, but it's a white color. I think that's easier than having a remote. You won't be able to make them dance or anything, but that's a sacrifice I was willing to make to make it a lot simpler. Over here, all these accessory switches, I don't have them all hooked up yet. One is just for the upper LED lights on the deck area. Those are all white lights. I didn't want colored lights up there. And the other one is for the bilge pump in the storage spot. You need a bilge pump down there, so if water gets in, it will have a way to get out, because obviously it's a pontoon, it's airtight. Can't have water in that. So you need a bilge pump to pump the water out that gets in there. If it rains or something like that, that's the only reason the water would get in there. I hooked up all the radio stuff. I have a radio up here and the radio accessory part right here. So if I am sitting up here with our friends and I want to turn down the volume, I can turn it down, or I can change zones. So I have different zone sections. Up here is zone 1, back there is zone 2, and up top is zone 3. So if I want to turn off zone 3 because people are laying up there, they don't want to hear music, I can turn it off. I can only turn on one section if only people are up here and people are just trying to talk back there, you know. Really cool option to have, so I don't have to get up and go to the radio over here to change all those options. But you do have multiple spots to control your music, and I think that's really cool. I am going to actually move this radio up here. That way I can put a glove box in right here to store phones, anything that's not going to get wet, like the registration and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to go ahead and switch that out here soon. Along with other stuff I'm going to install, I got a horn I need to install on the side right here for my horn button. I also need LED lights in the front for the docking lights, but that's no big deal. Let's figure out which ones I want. The hard part's all done though. I ran all the wires. It's all pretty easy from here on out. I just gotta hook it all up. I have a dual battery setup. All this is gonna run the electronics, and this is gonna run the motor once I get a motor. I'm gonna have them hooked up to a switch over here so I can turn on the one if we're just sitting on the water cruising, just listening to music, and switch it to all once I wanna start moving and start the motor and stuff. If you're just gonna run the Pontoon Stuff's wiring kit, you just have to hook it up to a battery and then that's it. It has all the fuses built in up here in the switches, so you don't have to worry about that. But since I have a bunch of extra stuff, I had to buy a fuse block, so I'm gonna hook up everything I need into that. So like the LED lights, I need to have a fuse on it, the drink maker, radio, all that other extra stuff that's not included in the Pontoon Stuff kit, I need to have a fuse block for. Also have the amplifier hooked up down there. It's all ran, everything, all that should work. I bought a really good amplifier, so if someone wanted to buy this boat, or someone buys a boat and want to add more speakers, it can hold up to a bunch more speakers, and a subwoofer if you want to add a subwoofer to this. I could probably talk for a while about how I wired up stuff. It just gets way too complicated. I'm not very good at explaining it either. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there if you're wiring up your boat or if you're learning how to wire in general. It teaches you everything you need to know. Yeah, that's my suggestion, is to watch some YouTube videos, see if it's something you want to handle. If not, plenty of people out there who can handle that for you. It's not super complicated, it's just, you gotta learn a little bit. Alright, we're gonna install the rest of this stuff and call it a day on this episode. So install this glove box, move the radio, install the horn, and hook up all the wires and try to get that all running good. Maybe we can test out all this stuff too. I wanna listen to the music, make sure it's all working right. If it doesn't work right, it's gonna really suck because I couldn't test it while I was running all these wires. So hopefully it all works. Fingers crossed. We're gonna find out right now. Got those final little things installed, got the glove box installed. All the papers are dry in there. I'm not sure if it's watertight, but it's better than nothing. Along with my little radio control thing so I can talk to everyone. Remotes, and also the amplifier controller right here, can turn it up or down. A horn installed, moved the radio up here, it looks better. Horn installed, horn works, trust me, it's just really loud. Got the visor installed. I also tinted this visor. I think it looks a little bit better, darker. So tinted that, installed it. Everything is bolted down now. All that is not going anywhere. Table's not going anywhere. All good. Got that cover installed. Got the wires looking good. Trying to make it organized. Trying to look a little bit professional, especially since there's a lot of wires down there. I want it to be somewhat organized. Drink maker is all hooked up. Got all that running. I just need to install the bottles and everything. That'll be next episode maybe. And speaking of next episode, I need to hook up all the steering control stuff. I got a hydraulic steering kit, controls for the motor I have. Speaking of motor, I have a motor. Have it installed. You might have been able to see it a little bit in the video. Stuff I was trying to hide it a little bit, but you probably could see it a little bit. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I posted a picture of it. It's a good motor. I will talk a little bit more about that in the next episode. We're gonna be repainting it, getting it all hooked up, wired up. Gotta run that little bit of wiring left, and it should be good to go. We are in the end game now. We just got a little bit of final touches along with that motor install, and it should be good to go. I have to install some of the fencing bracings, and I'm gonna try to figure out a different way to install one right here. Probably attach it to the upper deck. That way you're not tripping over it. That was a big problem with my last pontoon boat, is tripping over that stuff. I need to install the aluminum side pieces, the LEDs up here. Need to re-weld this fin on to the other side. Maybe clean it up a little bit more, give it a whole wash down, and then it'd be good to go. Next episode is gonna be the final putting it together, and then we'll be able to take it out and party on it. Yeah. All right, I will catch you guys next episode, the final. It's almost done. We're so close. All right, I will catch you guys then. Bye.